Hey everybody, how is it going? It is Sam from BHNO Media, and today I want to tell you guys the difference in between screen printed t-shirts and vinyl t-shirts. Now, this is something I've been doing for a long time and figured, hey, why shouldn't I share this information with everybody else? So if you're interested in not only knowing what you're wearing, the differences in quality, and everything else, stick along so you can find out. Today, we're going to be starting with vinyl t-shirts. We'll move on to screen printing, and if we have time, I'll cover a little bit of embroidery and sublimation at the end. So for a vinyl t-shirt, the starting product is going to be a roll of vinyl. Let me show you guys real quick. So usually you're going to be starting with something just like this, a roll of vinyl that is going to be then put into your cutting machine. So once you've uploaded your designs, whether you've taken them from the internet, made them through Photoshop, whatever it is, you're going to need a cutting software. Now, for most household applications, small creators, and more, you're going to see this a lot. This is called a Cricut machine. And no, I'm not sponsored by any means, but it's a great little product, very affordable, and super awesome for just, smaller applications. Now, there is obviously such thing as commercial machines and just things even slightly bigger than this that will be able to speed up your process much, much quicker. But when you're just starting off, this is a great little tool. So all it really does is you take your roll of vinyl, you put it on a mat, with your design uploaded, and it cuts it out for you. Perfect. And from there, you've just got to take your weeding tool and then weed the design, and you are ready to take it to the heat press. So you've got a couple different options for heat application. You can either use an iron, you can use, the circuit heat press, or you can use an industrial or commercial heat press, which is what I use, and you probably should use if you're going to be selling garments at all. If it's just personal projects, use an iron, use whatever you want. But let me just tell you, the difference in between an iron and a commercial heat press is quite large. You're going to have designs that just won't really stick when you use an iron. Even though this design looks really good, you can see it's peeling up at the sides here a little bit, bubbles here, and this was one of my more perfect applications with the iron. Now you're gonna need to run your iron at top heat and press it down with almost all of your weight to simulate what you would get with a heat press. And after a while, I'm sure that's not gonna be too good on your iron. So check on Marketplace, check on Craigslist, whatever you have locally to you, see if you can get a used heat press. I picked mine up for 150 bucks Canadian, and it has served me super, super well. So let's talk about longevity of a heat press or a vinyl design. So usually, as long as it doesn't get direct cuts or abrasion, that design is gonna stay there for as long as the t-shirt stays alive. The glue that is adhered to the t-shirt, it is stuck on those fibers, and that vinyl is not coming off. And unless you bought really cheap vinyl to begin with, it doesn't crack and very rarely fades as well. It's pretty much good for about the longevity of a t-shirt. Now, anything past about 10 years, I think is kind of territory for the glue to start losing some adhesion, but I don't know, I personally own some vinyl adhered things that are from the early 2000s, and it's still holding up pretty well. It probably all depends on the conditions it's stored in and the original material qualities. All right, so I believe that's all I need to talk about for vinyl garments for now. Let's move on to screen printing. Ooh, screen printing is a world of its own. And honestly, rightfully so, because there's so much to learn, so much to perfect, and it's not for the weak, let me just say that. Now, the main difference in between screen printing and vinyl, or I should say, the main reason for using one or the other, is this is meant for long production runs. If you're gonna be doing like 10, 20, probably 100 t-shirts, anything more than just a small batch order, then you're gonna wanna just get it screen printed, because that's the best way to go and the most easy. Most efficient? Man, I'm just losing track of my words here. But what you need to do to actually apply this design onto the shirt is you need to first expose a screen. Now, to do this, you need to take emulsion, apply it to both sides of the screen, let it sit for 12 to 24 hours. Then, once you have your design made, I'll get into that in a second, you go to your exposure unit, you expose the screen. Oh, if you don't have a commercial exposure unit, then you need to get up a halogen light setup, or set it up with the sun, which can be anywhere from 15 minutes to 4 hours for just the exposure time. Then you need to wash your screen out, let it dry. Now you can print. It's quite the process just to get your screen prepped. But the difference is, once you have this, now you have it. These last anywhere from 5 to 10 years if they're stored properly and if you've got good emulsion. So if you have a screen, now you can print that design on any amount of t-shirts, garments, whatever, forever pretty well. And that's a lot more efficient than, vinyl cutting. But if you're just doing one design, or you're gonna be doing multiple one-offs, even if it's just different colors each time, that's gonna add extra work, and it just becomes not worth it over time with screen printing. The amount of times that you have to clean off that screen, and depends, like if you're using a plastisol ink instead of a water base, because I use plastisol sometimes, it is so thick, so hard to wash off, just the amount of extra work that goes into the entire process, it's not worth it unless you're going to be doing long runs of t-shirts or sweaters. Now, in terms of actually creating this screen, you also are looking at a little bit of money, because emulsion's not that cheap. So to get, I believe, an $80 pail of emulsion, or maybe $50, I might be misquoting myself there, will get you around 6 to 8 large screens like this, about guaranteed. Maybe a little more if you spread it thinner. Some people spread it pretty thick. And then an exposure unit, commercially, you're looking at anywhere from 1 to 4,000. Now, just your halogen light setup, you're looking at 50 to 100. You can do that outside with the sun as well, extra cheap, but if you're in an area like me, where you're barely getting any sunshine during the winter, might not be viable. So the entire process of screen printing is also much more expensive, whereas you can buy yourself a couple rolls of vinyl and a cutter for probably the same amount as your initial 4 or 5 screens. So the difference in between screen printing and vinyl really is just at home use or commercial use. Now let's talk about longevity of, the print and how long it's gonna last. How good does it look? Because for all that work, it should be lasting longer and looking better, right? Maybe, it depends what you're looking for. Let's start with looks, because that's easiest. Obviously, as you can see, this design is very flat on the shirt. It looks like it's a part of the shirt itself. That is the go-to look for screen printed designs. You want it to look like it is on that shirt. It came out, to people who don't know as much about t-shirt making, it came out on that shirt itself and looks great. Now, vinyl and anything like this, patch designs, you can tell it's been applied to the shirt afterwards, and it is raised up. It's just a different look. So if that's what you're going for, if you want like a raised logo clearly there, or if you just want nice printed on design, basic. So it's all design preference at that point. I personally do like the look of vinyl. I think it's more prominent. If it's not too shiny as well, like it just really does look good on that shirt. Maybe the shiny is good too. Hey, I don't want to hate too much, but screen printing has its uses for sure. But in terms of longevity of print, if you just are doing the same regular washes, you throw them in, you don't care, you're not flipping your garment inside and out, then vinyl is actually gonna last longer than this, because as you can tell, I don't know if you can, this print is already starting to crack, and this sweater is only a year old. Given they printed the ink pretty thin on this, if you print it thicker, you're using a plastisol ink over a water-based ink, you're also gonna get longer longevity out of the print that way. Also, like as I just said earlier, if you're turning a garment inside and out, you're doing cold washes, there's certain things that can make sure a print stays on longer. But if we're just talking regular washes, one versus the other, vinyl will hold up better, especially if it was adhered with a professional heat press. That glue is bonded to those fibers and it is not coming off. And this vinyl, let's be honest, it's just plastic or a rubber complex that's been made up and really is never gonna deteriorate. So if that stuff can last in the landfills for 10, 20 years, it's gonna last on your t-shirt for a long time. So guys, really, what it comes down to is the amount of money and time you wanna put into making a design and how many you wanna make. Now, if you're just listening to this to learn about the t-shirts and pieces that you're wearing, when you look at a piece now, you can think, well, was that mass produced? Is that just a screen print that somebody's made a screen and slapped a bunch of designs on a t-shirt? Or was it, because a lot of vinyl pieces too, especially if they're hand placed and they weren't just mass ordered from China, you get some pretty unique things, and it's really cool. I don't know, guys. You make up your mind and decide what you like better. All right, so thank you so much, guys, for listening to me yammer on about screen printing and vinyl today. I hope you guys learned something and now know a little bit more about the clothing that you are wearing and buying. And now you know, hopefully, who to support, who you maybe think, maybe those pieces should be a little bit cheaper, and so on and so forth. Because really, if you want to buy something cool, you can learn how to support people doing really cool stuff instead of things that are just mass produced. So thank you guys so much for watching. Enjoy the rest of your days and go rock some sick clothing today. Peace.